which is the oldest and and I gave my number, that is 1088, but I'm sorry because it isn't it is false. I started just tell you a little story, and in the 19th century, the University of Bologna was in a great decay. We have a great crisis. No one paid attention to the University of Bologna. So a group of intellectuals gathered together and carry on some researches about the ancient time of the university. They were checked by one of our most important poets, and they discovered that the University of Bologna was founded in 1088. But very casually, it was 1888. And so it's so a coincidence, so they can celebrate the 8th centenary of the University of Bologna. But for this event, they call the king, they have a lot of money, and for this celebration, they can build the new institute, the new seat of the University of Bologna. And it's a round presentation, I started from the end. And but we don't have a date, we don't have a document that testified the born of the University of Bologna. And because I wanted to tell you the true story of the University of Bologna. So we are so proud about our university that we take the date and we put in our logo. But the University of Bologna took its roots from the medieval age. And it was a really particular period because at the end of the medieval age there is a change in the culture. And there is a resurgence of culture and especially exchange in the social and economic status of the society. There is the emergence of municipality, the growth of trade, and artisanal economy. This means new society needs new rules, new law. And but we don't have to invent new rules because we have the Roman law, the Roman rules. And the most important was the corpus iuris civilis of Byzantine Emperor Justinian. And what's happening in Bologna? In Bologna there is the presence of a great master of law. The most important was Irnerio, and he started to comment the Roman law. He started to make a comment to adapt the Roman law to the modern time, of the Middle Age. And he was so famous that the students go to Bologna to ask him to teach them. And so we don't have a date for the foundation of the university because it is a spontaneous application of students. They gather together and they go to the master just to ask, please teach us. And but you can see that the date is similar to 1088, so it's possible that the first the University of Bologna was founded in 1088. But we don't have a document. And the study, we can speak about the university at this time, the study of the law, and the student began to ask for some privilege, some rules. And Emperor Frederick I Barbarossa, receiving the complaint of a student, give them these new rules, this new right, that is the authentica vita. The municipality didn't respect this new right One of the most important rights for the student was the fact that if a student committed a crime, he could be judged by his own teachers. And the municipality didn't approve it, obviously. So, to protect themselves, the students started to gather together and in association called Nation. They were composed by young people of the same linguistic area. The group of nation was called Universitas, and it was divided into groups: the Universitas Scholarium Ultramontanorum and the Universitas Scholarium Citramontanorum. It was a geographical division. The Ultramontanorum comes from Europe, and the Citramontanorum come from Italy, but we don't have Italy at this time. It was very divided in different states. And this is the part of the study of law. For the studies of medicine, we have the same history. In Bologna, there was many important doctors, many important medicians. So the young people from all Europe come to Bologna and ask to the teacher to teach them medicine. We don't have also in this case a document that testified a foundation, but we have to look in other documents like notarial document, document of law. And the first mention of the medical profession was referred to a certain Petrus that was called medicus. And then we have other documentation about in which some medics were called magister. This means that they teach to the student. And in the 30th century, we have a very important master of medicine that started to write treatises and they gather more and more students. So we have, for example, Guglielmo da Saliceto and Taddeo Alderotti. They were called for the first time magister. That means that the university was grown. And in 3017, we have the first document that mentioned the Universitas Artistarum and also the Collegio Medico. Artistarum means of medicine because it's referred to ars medica. And Taddeo Alderotti was one of the most important magister, and under his influence, the governor granted medical students similar privilege to their counterparts in the field of law. I go a little fast because we have the 10th century to speak about. And surgeries was also teaching in Bologna, and it's very important because for the skillful master that we have in Bologna, surgery was considered a little more, because surgery was considered a discipline of low class, because he dealt with blood, he dealt with manual labor, but the medicine of Bologna was so famous that surgery began to be considered a discipline like the other. And another important magister was Monsignor De Luzzi. We know that he carried out anatomy in Bologna. It's possible that it's the first city in which anatomy were carried out. And at the time, Bologna was very different from now. In fact, you can see in this part the three walls that rounded the city center. In the last one is the one that we have today, and then you can see that the city grew during the century. There is not a palace for the university, there is not a seat. The teacher teach in their house. It's a sort of family at the beginning of the learning, the University of Bologna. The students come to the city, ask to the teacher to teach them, and maybe they rent a room in his house, they also have lunch together. And the city was divided into districts. And the district of anatomies was the one that came from the Piazza Maggiore to the church of Saint Francis. The city was divided based on the church. So they spontaneously divide in a district for the study of law and a district for the study of medicine. Things changed during the Renaissance because Bologna was under the control of Vatican, under the control of Church. So the Papal legate Donato Cesi decided to build a palace to gather together all the university that and this palace was in the center of the city because it wanted to symbolize the importance of the university in the city of Bologna. The Archiginnasio Palace was built in 1563, and you can still visit it. It's very, very beautiful. And inside we have the anatomical theater built in 1637. In the palace they gather all the discipline. And during the century, during the Renaissance and until the Enlightenment, unfortunately, the University of Bologna remained deeply entrenched in tradition. They were, for the study of medicine, the University of Bologna was very involved in Galenism. They are strictly Galenists, and they didn't carry on research with new stuff of the science. Science became experimental, science became influenced from France, from Enlightenment. So in the city was built other academy, other institute in which the scientists, also the medician, could carry on experiment, could be more open to Europe, to other nations. And the one of these, the best of these, was the Institute of Science that was founded in 1711 by Luigi Fernando Marsilli, as it was located in Palazzo Poggi. Renowned figures like Luigi Galvani and Laura Bassi were among its esteemed members. So we have two institutes, the university, in which they teach in a traditional way, and the Institute of Science, in which they can carry on experiment and new research. The Institute of Science have also new museum, new laboratories. And in the 19th century, Bologna fell under the control of Napoleon troops. When the French reached Bologna, they decided to close the Palace of Archiginnasio because it's too old, it hasn't a laboratory. And they decided to collocate the university in Palazzo Poggi. So in Palazzo Poggi you can find the two institutes, the Institute of Science and the University, and they can share the laboratory and facility. You can see here, for example, they built another anatomical theater, they have a laboratory of anatomy. And as the century drew to a close, the university decided to build other institutes that could be more modern and more adapted to the new time. And the department of anatomy was divided in normal anatomy and pathological anatomy, and it was built with the money for that the city received for the celebration of the 8th centenaries that we see at the beginning. And this is the institute that we have today. And I try to do this thing. Well, I didn't study medicine. So for understand, so present you the modern status of the discipline, I just bring you the brochure of the department. And as you can see, the institute changed a lot. So this is the Institute of Anatomy. And in it you can find new laboratories and like the anatomical room Giovanni Mazzotti, in which you can see there is new technology about anatomy, and a room for the technological innovation, and well, many articles about it, and they carry out a program about the donation of the body. So we know that the number really increasing during the years. So we have a lot of donation. And there is some statistic data about the donation of the blood, the bodies. And so this is now the situation of the University of Bologna. And thank you very much for your attention.